Aaron Whitlow,
Brandon Spivey
and we are.
are the Markout Movie Podcasters.
Yes, we are. And on today's episode, we are doing uh, Beverly Hills Cop Axel F, which is another entry into Action Junkies.
You son of a bitch. You.
Okay, I love that. I didn't mean to hit it again. I was like, all right, I'll go ahead and take it away. I love that intro, by the way, to Action Junkies.
Yeah, you caught me off guard. I didn't think you were doing that with this.
Surprise! Because because in reality, Beverly Hills Cop franchise would be considered an action franchise. It's like an action comedy, so it's a hybrid between
Yeah, it's Rush
action and
Hour.
comedy. Yeah, yeah, it's
Like
what
Rush
Rush Hour. It actually, if it wasn't for Beverly Hills Cop, there wouldn't been a Rush Hour. There wouldn't be a Bad Boys. You
Yeah,
can name like several different things that came about because of Beverly Hills Cop. I would argue, I guess, 48 Hours was the predecessor, which also had Eddie in it, but it
yeah.
wasn't the same quality as this.
I love 48 Hours, but another 48 Hours, that's another story. But I love Eddie and I love Nick Nolte. But yeah, when I think of Eddie, man, I think of Axel Foley. I really do. I mean, I know you don't particularly think just Axel Foley. I know you got Coming to America,
Yeah.
and a lot of other stuff he's done. But for me, that was my first experience with him. Was
So
watching Beverly Hills Cop. So I was on board.
so Beverly Hills Cop was your introduction to Eddie.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I'm trying to think if I want to say actually I don't know if it was I would say Come to America or Trading Places. One of those was my introduction to him.
I
Um,
want to say Coming to America was my second or third film that I saw him in. But yeah, Beverly Hills Cop was the first. I was like 7, 8, 9, around that age. Was at a flea market in the Great Smoky Mountains. I saw this VHS of Beverly Hills Cop. I was like, that looks interesting. I like action movies. Actually, I loved them as a kid. And I was like, I'm going to buy this. Yep, did. Loved it. Became a fan of Eddie Murphy.
which the rest is history.
Yeah.
So Beverly Hills Cop Axel F is Eddie's fourth film in the Beverly Hills Cop franchise. It was 30 years. And I didn't realize it until I was watching a review on this that it's been 30 years since Beverly Hills Cop 3. I was like,
Yep.
wow, I didn't realize how long ago it was. But yeah, but as you did, I did as well. I went through the Beverly Hills Cop journey, starting with one, uh, all the way up to Axel F. And we we both mentioned that I said it to you, and you said, "Well, you put that in your letterbox review." That I totally forgot how great the first film was.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it was near perfect. I mean, in all honesty, the action was good, but it's his comedic timing and even though Judge doesn't become the Billy I love until the second one, but his evolution, him working with Taggart, I can't think of his first name. I think it's John, but it might not be. And the other lieutenant, I just all
John
four of them,
John Taggart. Yeah, you're right.
yeah, all four of them. It was just really, it was perfection. You know, for a
Yeah.
cop movie, what it was big, it was like in 1984. This is before Lethal
Mhm.
Weapon. You know, this is hey, Lethal Weapon should
Borrowed
pay.
heavily.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, it really did, and
you're right about that. I didn't think about that as far as like, and I'm sorry, I ain't trying to interrupt, but yeah, as far as like, if it wasn't for Eddie getting cast in this role, it's hybrid between action and comedy. It would have because Bruce Willis was a comedy guy, a
mhm.
TV guy, and so it gave an ambience, I guess, for them to cast like Bruce Willis for Die Hard. So yeah,
We have to even go further and say if it wasn't for Eddie, we wouldn't have buddy cop movies. Period. You know, it's crazy to think Eddie is kind of responsible for this. Like I didn't even think about it until like now. Like Eddie is responsible for buddy cop movies. I
yeah,
think that's awesome. And I just think the whole cast did great. I think the villain is the best villain in the series in the original. I don't want to say that. I thought Kevin Bacon would have been, but we'll get into it. But you
yeah,
may disagree with me on it, but I did. I thought he was fine.
yeah.
I,
Uh, I do want to. So before we get to Beverly Hills Cop Axel F, just a little journey. So Beverly Hills Cop first started as a vehicle for Sylvester Stallone,
mm-hmm.
and Stallone it said, "Okay, let's get rid of the comedy stuff. Let's put more actions." And at the end of it, how about I steal a Ferrari, I think, or a Lamborghini or something like that, and I try to race and play chicken with someone, the bad guy in a train to see who swerves. There's cocaine involved, but but then uh, there's there's like, yeah, no, we're not going to go with you, and so that movie sort of ultimately became Cobra,
Yeah,
which is Sylvester Stallone's movie, which is not it is one of his best movies.
I've always
But
liked it
you
myself,
liked it,
but it doesn't compare to Beverly Hills Cop. I will
yeah.
say that there's no comparison.
Um,
Eddie was
and
the right
and
choice.
Eddie was the better choice. There's other people that's considered for the role. I'm not going to name them all. But yeah, Eddie. I can't see anyone else playing Axel Foley but Eddie
No,
Murphy. And
no,
also in the very first film, in the first three films, uh, the um, the inspector Todd was an actual
yeah,
detective with
yep.
the police department, and they loved him so much. He wasn't even an actor. He was like I don't know if a consultant or what, but they loved him so much they're like, we're gonna cast you. And I'm gonna argue and say he is the he is the blueprint of the stereotypical sergeant of the police department who yells at the
Yeah,
guy. You know, if it wasn't for him, I mean, I would have to go back and really check, but I believe he was the first one that kind of started that type of trope of, get in here. What are you doing? They're climbing up my butt. You're, you're destroying the city. You know that guy. So,
yeah.
uh, and he's passed away, by the way. But yeah,
Is he? Oh,
yeah, he died.
I know he became like a mayor somewhere, but I didn't know that he passed away. He was great in the first three movies. Spoilers if you haven't seen the third, he dies. But
It's been 30 years. If you haven't seen it, you're not going to see it.
But I would say that he's the best part of part 3.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. Well, that and Surge making a
Surge.
comeback.
Yeah, he stole it too. Yeah.
Yeah. But
gotta give Bronson his flowers.
We'll break it down later, but I just wanted to just get your thoughts on the because we know that the elephant in the room is that Beverly Hills Cop 3 was the one that is the worst out of the bunch.
It killed the
Because
franchise.
yeah,
Which I kind of think Eddie was ready to let go of Axel, but
yeah,
it definitely killed it.
Well, Eddie had a couple of things. So Eddie and I come to this. Eddie was depressed while he made Beverly Hills Cop 3. He's going through a depression. A lot of people didn't want to work with him because of his entourage, of his, like the type of guy that he was at the time. And so he kind of was alienating a lot of people. And also the last several movies he made prior to Beverly Hills Cop were all duds and didn't do good and were flops. And so he did Beverly Hills Cop 3, but people didn't want to return for it. They ended up getting John Landis to direct it. Him and John worked together on Coming to America, but John and Eddie had a falling out essentially in this movie. Well, they had a falling out prior because of what John Landis went through with Twilight Zone and that trial with the death of I forget his name right at the moment, but anyway, because of that, and Eddie wanted to make Axel a lot like a more serious character and less, Axel, and so people came to see Axel Foley, especially in a Disney World type of environment. That'd be fun, but it didn't. It fell flat. Now, as a kid, like when that movie came out, I loved it.
I did too.
I didn't know any better, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah, it didn't feel like Axel Foley. It felt like
Hey, Belfer.
Yo. It felt like a variant of Axel Foley.
You said that.
I did. I said it just nothing felt right in that movie. Billy didn't feel right. Axel didn't feel right. The villains were weak. I mean, there was no Taggart. The lieutenant from the first 2 movies was gone. Ronnie Cox, I don't know if he had passed away yet or not, but regardless, he wasn't in it. It didn't feel like a Beverly Hills Cop movie.
Real quick, Matthew Carter on Facebook says, "Hey, Aaron and Brandon, I hope you're enjoying the evening. I watched clips of Ryan Reynolds in his so far only dramatic role in Buried. Oh, Lord, man, what are you doing to yourself? I hope you enjoy reviewing Beverly Hills Cop 4 Axel F. Can you review Superman Returns? It'd be great to hear what you have to say about it." Yeah, we have to put that on the docket for some time. Buried is a hard movie to watch, but I'm sorry. But I wouldn't say that is Ryan's only dramatic or serious role. I mean, he was sort of serious in Amityville Horror, but it just wasn't. But you couldn't take him serious because it's Ryan Reynolds.
Didn't he work in another movie with Hugh Jackman about maybe not? Maybe it might be Jake Gyllenhaal about the kids being taken. He did some serious movie. I don't think I've seen it, but I don't typically watch his serious roles.
Yeah.
I should. I think If is one of his best performances that came out this year. Of course, Deadpool, but we're talking dramatic. I don't know. I like Buried though. I it's a one-time watch for me, but I liked it. I thought he was good in it. I'm not gonna do it, Matthew. I'm not gonna spoil it.
All right. Yeah, he's not gonna spoil it. All right. So real quick. Oh, I'm sorry. I took it away. Real quick. Let me pull this up. Um, Axel Foley returns to Beverly Hills after his daughter's life is threatened and works with old pals John Taggart and Billy Rosewood to uncover a conspiracy. I'm going to play a quick clip from Beverly Hills uh, Cop Axel F.
Beautiful day here in Beverly Hills.
What the hell was that?
Let me guess. Foley.
Did you say Foley?
Foley! You stole a helicopter! I didn't realize that you couldn't really fly a helicopter. Otherwise, I would have came up with a different idea. I told you it was a bad idea.
All right. So that's a quick little clip from Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. All right. As you see, it stars Eddie Murphy again. Joining the cast is Joseph Gordon-Levitt, which I've always been a fan of Joseph Gordon-Levitt. As Detective Abbott, you have Taylor Page as Axel's daughter, Jane Saunders. I guess she's his daughter with the lady from 3, right? Is that what you got?
I mean, I would, if you're going by the timeline, it would make sense, but they never really explained who the mother was. So.
Yeah, I wish they would have did that. I wish they would have. Judge Reinhold returns as Billy Rosewood, which it was great to see Judge. John Ashton returns as John Taggart. Yeah, Paul Reiser popping up in here as Jeffrey Friedman, I think his name. And then Bronson Pitcher, your friend, your buddy.
Valky
Surge
from Perfect Strangers. Yep. I love him. I mean, I adore that man.
And I love Kevin Bacon is Captain Cade Grant.
You know, Bacon's made the most appearances in our reviews.
Bacon is the most featured person on the podcast. And also, I want to point out another guy that's in this movie. I'm not seeing his IMDb page, but you'll know him as Lucifer from Supernatural.
Yeah, I'm actually watching a show that he's in, the Tomorrow People, another CW show.
Yeah, I don't know the guy, but when I see him, I immediately think Supernatural and I think Lucifer. Yeah. Immediately. He did that role. He played a character really well. So.
Yeah. I mean, when I saw him with the beard, I was like, oh, that's Lucifer. It's like, it's good to see him.
Yeah, well, in that sense. But yeah, he's played in other things, but that would be the character that he's known the most for, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done other things, like I said, but that's what I know him as. He was so committed to Supernatural. Supernatural fans recognize Supernatural people from other things. But so this movie starts with Axel at a hockey game, and he's with a guy who's like his new partner. And he's off the case, but he thinks that these people are going to rob the hockey game, like the locker room. And he's right, obviously, and catches. And then there's a chase that happens, and you know, it was what I like about the beginning scene is it was a direct callback to like the way the beginning of Beverly Hills Cop started, and I love that started with same type of little chase scene. It felt this movie felt the most like Beverly Hills Cop than the rest of them, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, I thought it had some dull moments with the daughter, but I think that's just because of how they wrote, how our character was written. But yeah, I agree with you though. I think it was the most like the original, which I think that was obviously done on purpose. It was intentional. Get back to basics kind of thing. If they're planning to do more, which I have heard they are. So, yeah, I agree with you, though. I mean, it was more like the original in every way.
Josh Gilliam says, I thought it was a good movie. Yes, Josh, I did as well. But yeah, the movie. So this is going on with Axel. He destroyed a lot of the city as he usually does, and in this sense, Paul Reiser's character is down to the chief, the deputy chief, which I love seeing that. I love seeing that he is now the deputy chief. Uh, and they're the same age, but they mentioned that
Yeah.
Paul looks so much older than Eddie. But Eddie dyes his hair. Come on, Eddie. We all know you're dyeing your hair, buddy. You're gray right now. You should be gray. Um, but Eddie, for the most part, still looks pretty good for his age. He's got to be a good 60-some years old, right?
Yeah, he's in his 60s, I know. 61, 62, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he looks great for his age, though.
Yeah.
No.
I do. As this is going on, there's another. Eddie's daughter pops up as an attorney. At first, when she pops up, I thought she was a villain. I thought, is she the villain? Is she a villain in this? Because I thought she was like sneaking in to like get to someone and like kill them or something. Yeah, that's what I thought. I didn't realize that she was. I went into this blind. I didn't read nothing about it. I just watched it, and so I didn't know who she was. But she's an attorney, and she is the daughter of Axel Foley, mysteriously who came about somehow between Beverly Hills Cop 3 and now. But she is an attorney and she's working on a case with a guy who's an accused cop killer. But she discovers that he was set up essentially, and then she gets her life threatened by a group of thugs, I guess, who try to push her off a garage in her car. Well, they would push her off a garage, but
They
kept her
do.
dangling. And then we get the first return. Who do you well, other than Eddie?
Billy.
Well,
Oh, man,
Billy.
Billy. I love you. I love Billy.
Yeah.
I was scared to death, though. I thought this was why Eddie was essentially going to return to Beverly Hills, because I thought they were going to kill Billy off.
Yeah, I thought that too. I was like, oh man, how are you gonna kill Billy in the first 5-15 minutes? And so also Judge, man. Judge hasn't really done much in a while. So it was really good seeing Judge Reinhold returning in this series. I think most people say he's best known for Fast Time at Ridgemont High, also Gremlins. I would say that I know him best as Rosewood.
Yeah.
That's what I know him as.
It's definitely Billy. I mean, and I'll make a controversial statement. I think Billy Rosewood is actually the best character from Beverly Hills Cop, the franchise overall. I wouldn't have said this before I rewatched them all, but rewatching them, I'm like, I forgot how good he really was in this role. This is his, this is his role. This is his character. I mean, I would have loved to have seen him and Taggart get a spinoff series back in the day. And I didn't even like Billy Rosewood as a kid all that much. It's crazy to me.
By the way, Matthew said you don't have to worry about spoiling the ending, Brandon. I know that Reynolds' character dies.
You just spoiled it for anybody that's watching and hasn't seen it.
And he says
job,
Axel's daughter's. He said Axel Foley's daughter working as a second would have been a great twist. But yeah, Billy, I loved that running gag of we're gonna need to talk, Billy. Because Billy is getting more and more like Axel coming into his life has made him more and more like rugged. And he shows up in the trench coat, like the dude from Terminator.
Actually, I think that was a play on Cobra.
Was that Cobra? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I really do. He became like Stallone in part 2.
Well, they keep taking little jabs at Stallone a bit in the series.
Yeah.
But yeah, Billy returns. Billy tells the Jane that he's gonna get with her later, but he has to check out one more thing. And I'm like, oh, Billy's gonna die right there. That's what I thought. Whenever somebody says that, I'm like, oh Lord, don't do it, Billy. But Billy gets essentially captured, and Gaunt is missing. But the reason why Axel comes is because Billy called Axel to let him know that his daughter was in danger. And so Axel comes to LA, and it loved that opening return. Like, it's always that montage of him coming into town, seeing different things, how things has changed in LA.
It's changed a lot.
And he goes to Billy's. I love that he goes to Billy's apartment, and he sees them, like he sees this broken into,
Yeah.
and he starts to he goes back. Axel's back because he goes into a bit.
Yeah.
He goes immediately into a bit where he's like, "Man, what y'all doing? Why aren't y'all going through the rest of this stuff, man? Y'all, they literally was like, okay, whatever." Didn't really question it until Lucifer comes in there. That's why I'm gonna call it a guy. He comes in. He's like, "Who are you?" And so they do that chase sequence.
Oh, it's a
I laughed out loud. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, it was a great chase sequence. It was funny. He kept getting sprayed with mace by the meter lady being chased. I mean, it was just great.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I laughed out loud at that part, like like the part where he says, "I'm sorry," and gets on the meter truck, the meter thing, and he's going, and the cut of the scene was really funny. He's looking straight forward, and then like he looks over, and they cut, and she's just like right there the whole time. He's like, and then you hear the like how low speed it's going, and she's like, "Get out of my vehicle." I thought that was the funniest thing, and then she sprayed him for a insanely long amount of time. pepper spray.
Yeah.
I thought that was so. That really had me chuckling. I thought that was one of the best scenes. Like it started off with that was a really great scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when he crashes it, and it's like being thrown out of the window in part one again. He's getting arrested again, and I thought it was a great throwback to the original. Yeah. And it's two female cops, and it just.
Oh, the reveal!
I forgot what he called them though.
No, he called them Lego cops.
Lego, yeah,
like that. Because he like the reveal, first of all, he's like, they shot at me, and they're like, and they chased me and shot at me, and they're like, no, you're under arrest for like disturbing the peace and crashing and stealing this or whatever. And so she slammed him onto the hood of the car and handcuffed him, and then she's like, "Are you serious?" He says, "Are you serious?" And he's like, "Yes. You stole a vehicle." And then like he said, "No." And then like the camera reveals how small the vehicle is, like how small this vehicle is. He said, "You're gonna stick me in this Lego car? What are y'all, Lego cops?" Something like that. It was funny. It just like this how like it's like I think it's a Volkswagen or something, like it was like really small.
Yeah.
And I thought that was funny, man. They actually had me chuckling too.
It was a great scene. And then he's being interviewed. He's being questioned by Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character. And he just wants to see Taggart. Just give me Taggart.
Yeah.
And Joseph won't give him Taggart at all. It's just, no, it don't work like that.
They didn't really explain why Taggart came. I guess they did kind of explain.
Yeah, he got married. She came back. Maureen, who is in the movie finally. She finally made an appearance.
Yeah.
I thought the whole time this was a made-up wife. The whole time. It's like, but I love the fact that Joseph said it. See, things have changed in the world. You can take all these shots and you think I'm going to react to it. No, that's not how it works. I really like Joseph in this movie. I'm a big fan of this too. But I thought he
Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Yeah, I think Joseph. Yeah, I was going to say that. I think Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Eddie make sense as like and I kind of hope, I ain't gonna lie, I kind of hope that they make another Beverly Hills Cop, but this time it's him just relocating to Beverly Hills, like finally just like coming in.
If Jeffrey's truly retired, like, because we skipped over that, but he had to retire so Axel wouldn't get in trouble. If he's truly retired, there's really nothing keeping Axel Foley in Detroit.
Yeah,
his daughter's in Beverly Hills. essentially his family of cops is in Beverly Hills. He needs to relocate. You're right. He should relocate. I just hope if they do another one that Taggart and Billy's in it more.
Yeah,
I understand why Taggart's not in it as much. Yeah. He's older. He can barely move. Although I will say he moved. I will say he moved pretty well for his age. He's got to be in his 70s or 80s, But I thought he moved pretty well. But he still can deliver some lines, though.
Yeah. Taggart is older, and I'll be happy to see Taggart. So, and we can get back into this. We'll get back into this a little later. But yeah, Eddie, he wants Taggart. Finally, he gets Taggart, and they, it's kind of, and I think that he finally gets a phone call to his daughter, and he gets his daughter to come down. She's estranged from him, which I've seen somebody say this in a review, and I have to agree with him. I don't see Eddie or Axel in it for this. I don't see Axel being the type of person that would totally abandon his daughter. Essentially, I don't see him being that way. Even if he had to move them back to Beverly Hills, I don't think that he would. Now, I could have seen a situation where he tried to call and talk to her, but depending on who the mom is, the mother wouldn't have it and kept him and her apart. And maybe that's how they became estranged because, or maybe he did call and then maybe she says, I don't want to talk to you. I never want to talk to you or something like that. And maybe that's when they became estranged. But just the idea that Axel Foley would essentially abandon his daughter, his only child, it doesn't make sense.
I agree. I can't see him abandoning. But he has ties to Detroit. So he loves Detroit. But still, I think if his daughter was in Beverly Hills, he's going to move to Beverly Hills. So I agree with that. I agree with that as well.
But yeah, so Axel and his daughter essentially go on a little side mission where they're trying to go to the impound lot, find some information, and they do their first little. I don't know. She kind of feels like she goes alone. That's why it wasn't also with what you're saying. It's not really believable that she really has this animosity towards her dad, in the sense of whenever he was going through his first stick of oh, I see you in Jupiter Ascending, and then he's like, yeah, I was the number third guy or whatever. I was 43, that's what But and she's like, well, what have you seen the movie? Tell him what your favorite thing about the movie is. Which listen, nobody can remember that movie. It was Channing Tatum, but
I remember it vaguely. Weird creatures in space or something. I
think he has a tail. He had ears. He had pointy ears. I think. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
It was a Super Mario Brothers sequel. That's what I would have said it was, but that's what they kind of look like to me. Those dinosaurs.
But I was gonna say, with that scene, it seems like his daughter was kind of going along with the bit. A little bit. And so it's why I say it's very. It's not really believable that she would go along with it, and unless she just really wants the answers, and she's going to go along with it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I didn't particularly like his daughter, so she just kind of came off snobby a little bit. But I think that she messed up the flow of the movie a lot when she was on screen. It just wasn't the same. When she was off screen, it was more fun. Nothing against the actress or nothing. It's just I'm assuming it's just how the character was written.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't mention it. So this movie was directed by Mark Malloy and written by Will Bell and four others. Nobody of importance. I guess I don't know. But um, which that's another fault of Beverly Hills Cop 3 is like the he didn't get what he wanted, or I don't know. Landis had a lot of cameos in it. Had like John Singleton, uh, George
Lucas.
Lucas. They had several other cameos, like at the bar. The patrons at the bar were all cameos. Of different makeup artists, directors, or whatever else. But yeah, man. But this one, I want to get to the meat and potatoes of it. So uh, they start stumbling on the clues, and they meet Kevin Bacon, and Kevin is Wade. Wade is his name. Uh, Kevin Bacon is Cade Grant,
Yeah, Grant.
and he listen. I love Kevin's villainous. Kevin is that actor that can play the hero, or he can be the villain,
Yeah,
and he's very versatile. I like Kevin. Kevin is an actor that doesn't get as much love as he should, as far as his versatility.
I agree.
But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I his character wasn't fleshed out, you know, and I don't blame him. I blame the writers. But what he is given, he shines. Like he does a good job. It's just they didn't really. It's just kind of cliche, which I guess is kind of the point in paying respect to the original. But he's just kind of a cliche, dirty cop kind of, which they really have not. Well, they kind of did it in the last one too, part 3. That guy helped the cops, so he's a better villain than him. He's a better villain than him, though.
Yeah, that guy from the part 3, you knew immediately he's the villain. Like, there's no doubt about it that he was. Like, there was no twist. You're like, that's so lazy. Part 3 so lazy, but but Kevin got this role, and he did what he could with it.
Yeah,
and I commend him for that. But
and he had fun with it. You could tell.
Yeah.
He had fun.
Fast forward to towards the end. So at one point, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character Bobby Abbott gets he gets suspended. But which his suspension made zero sense, because
they were trying to tease that Taggart was a dirty cop.
Yeah,
and if that had became true, oh man, all the diehard Beverly Hills Cop fans would have had an uproar.
Yeah, I would have had an uproar. Taggart. So also, who they don't. West name never pops back up ever in this movie. The chief from the very first and second film, he never shows up again.
Yeah.
Which
he's passed away now. I'm pretty.
Oh, did he?
I'm almost certain he passed away.
Okay. And then another person, I don't know. He was in 3. I like him as an actor. He was the one that
Hector.
Hector. Yeah. I like him as an actor. I kind of wish he would have been. I wish they could have, even though people don't really like part 3. I wish they would have merged a couple of characters from 3 into this to make it kind of concise. Like I would love for him to come in, and I would love to see his interaction with Taggart or something like that. I would love to see his interaction with like maybe Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character. I would like to see the lady from part, but I guess she's just done because she didn't come back for Bad Boys at all. So she was Martin's wife in the first all
First
the
two.
Bad Boys movies. Yeah,
First
all the
three,
movies.
yeah. Yeah, all
Yeah,
first three,
other
yeah.
than the last one. Yeah. But yeah. Um, just so I don't know what she's doing. Maybe she just said I'm done acting. I'm not sure. I don't see how you walk away from a check from like Bad Boys, but you did. Whatever. But my point is, I wish they would have like jailed some more of the people in this movie.
Yeah, I always kind of wish the girl from the first one would have came back because
Yeah,
they were really
me
close
too.
friends, and they never mentioned her ever again.
Yeah,
It's like it's weird, you know.
yeah,
But
yeah. Well, like Weston could have said, like they could have easily even just mentioned her. Like whenever you see Surge, he could have said, "Oh yeah, once the art gallery closed down and my weapons business closed down, what's the name went to work with what I'm trying to do my Surge impression. But I wish we would have got Surge and Rosewood again. We didn't get that in this either. Um,
no,
yeah, but oh man, they go to the house and with Surge, which I like. I like him. I think that he had more screen time on this one, but I still don't feel like they did a lot with him. They could have did more with him.
they could have. I'm pretty sure he was just happy to be there, like everybody else. I mean,
He looks great, by the way.
he does. He looks. I mean, he looks pretty good for his age.
Yeah.
He was around in the early '80s too. I mean, goodness, so many people.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's crazy because in this universe, Kevin Bacon would have been like like he said he came up behind Taggart and he kind of trained with Taggart. So I would say that
he was
he would have
around.
been with Eddie when Eddie was there.
Yeah.
Probably heard stories, but didn't ever meet him or Axel. Let me say, but anyway, Joseph Gordon-Levitt gets fired. Well, not fired, suspended. Which that was a really good scene with the shootout with the Mexicans.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought that it kind of gave his character validity as well. But I'm trying to get to the part because they steal a chopper. They get arrested for
Yes.
cocaine. Oh, before that, Louis Guzman pops up, which I like Louis Guzman. This isn't my favorite performance of his at all. I like
Nah,
Louis Guzman though.
I like him too, but yeah, I thought that his cameo it wasn't pointless. It it got the story to move forward, but it just I don't know. It just felt off. He felt off. But yeah, oh my god, the chopper. Oh man, I love that whole sequence.
Beck, by the way, Mark Pellegrino is the guy to play Lucifer, by the way, from Supernatural. Mark, his name's Beck in the show, in this movie. Another guy that pops up, I did want to mention him. He's a comedian. Affion Crockett. He was the guy at the country club, the valet at the country club. He's a comedian. If you've seen Haunted House, which is the Wayne brothers, I think mainly Sean maybe in that one, or maybe it's Marlon. It's Marlon. I think it's Marlon. Which one did you see live, Marlon?
Yeah, I saw Marlon.
Yeah. So it's Marlon. But he's the guy that plays like his cousin, who's a gang member. He comes into the house. He says, "What happened to your furniture, cuz?" Just like that guy. So it's really good seeing him in this. But it continues the tradition of comedians being featured in the Beverly Hills Cop movies. You had Damon Wayans in the first one. He's the one that gave Axel the bananas. You had Chris Rock as the valet driver in the second one. No comedian in the third one featured. So That showed you that's why I failed. No, no. And then you had this guy. So I liked him. I liked it, like Eddie tried to use the bro code. He's like, "Hey man, hey bro, we're brothers. You gotta look out for one." He's like, "Man, are you gonna pay my bills if I get fired from here?" No, brother. Stuff like that. You know, I love that. Um, but anyway, the helicopter. They steal a helicopter, and while they're flying the helicopter and being shot at and everything, they crash on a golf course.
Wait. We got to talk about the process of flying this
Okay,
helicopter.
go ahead, buddy.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt can't fly a helicopter. He quit because he couldn't fire a helicopter, and he was supposed to be a pilot for what was it? The LAPD, right?
Yeah, he was supposed to be a pilot. I think he was in the military as a pilot.
Yeah.
Well, maybe.
Yeah, he said something about the military, but this was my favorite. This was my actual favorite scene of Joseph, and I thought this was when his character shined the most. He was so nervous. He's like, "Could you please shut up?"
And he's trying to meditate.
Yeah, I thought it was great. And Kevin Bacon shooting at him, and I remember they were trying to land, and then Taggart came out there and was like, "You stole a helicopter."
He says, "If I knew that,"
looking at it, and Eddie just pointing at him. It's like, I don't know.
he said, "If I knew you couldn't fly, I wouldn't have had you fly. I wouldn't even ask you to fly. I would have came up with a different plan. If I knew you couldn't fly, you should have told me you couldn't fly." he said, my the propeller's gone or something like that.
Yeah.
He said, "Do you have another one? Do we have another one?"
It was great,
funny,
man. It was truly a great scene. And they crash on the golf course. And
but who's there?
Oh man. Okay.
It's I believe this is I believe.
Oh, there's
in
no
my heart of
doubt
hearts
about who it is.
I believe that Shooter McGavin is in. So this is the same universe as Happy Gilmore.
Yes.
This is the same universe as Happy Gilmore because
We
Shooter McGavin
have to get
is
Eddie.
in. Shooter McGavin is in this movie for like a
Yes.
brief second, and I loved it. I loved every bit of it.
They have when they make Happy Gilmore 2, they have to get an Axel Foley cameo. You got to make it
Yes.
happen to make it
Yes,
connected. I mean,
connected. Like maybe Axel is investigating something, and Billy has to go to or Happy rather has to go to L.A. or to Beverly Hills for a tournament, and he just briefly runs into Eddie or Axel, and and it's just like
that would be awesome to see as well. Adam and Eddie.
yes, I love to see them two Saturday Night Live alumni that never really have interacted with one another as far as I know, interacting. That'd be great. That'd be really great. Yeah, so freaking Shooter McGavin was in this movie, and he's like, oh, you crashed around. He even said like there's something where I'm playing at. I can't shoot around it or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is like what Shooter was like in Happy Gilmore. But yeah, man, that was.
He was worried he was going to have to call his legal team and everything.
Yeah. And then like he got the caddy or whoever. He's like, hey, he's gonna help her. He's gonna help her. And then like you say, but man, that was great. That was great. Oh, he looks. I just want to say this. He looks great, man. The actor.
Christopher McDonald. Yeah.
Christopher McDonald. He looks great for his age, man. He literally looks like he's Shooter. He's Shooter McGavin. He looks like he just came from Billy Madison. Happy Gilmore, I'm sorry. Yeah, man. It just calls him on the IMDb golfer, but we know who he is. We know who he is. But anyway, so his daughter gets kidnapped. They go to him and Joseph Gordon-Levitt go to investigate and try to find her.
Yeah.
And and he finds
Billy.
Billy, and Billy says you can never have enough firepower.
And this is when the movie truly became Beverly Hills Cop for me. When Billy came back, it was the best. The ending was the best. I mean, it just everything just was on all cylinders, man. It was just
Who
boom, 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 boom. It was just
who was
great.
who was that said something about being safe, and then like Eddie says, I don't know, are y'all safe? I'm safe. And then like Billy says, I'm safe. And then, Joseph Gordon-Levitt says, there's no seatbelt in the middle. It's just like simple line that like I think Joseph Gordon-Levitt like fit in so well with
He
the
did.
crew. And that's why I say, man, I love to see more of this. Like maybe in the next one, Axel is becoming a grandfather because maybe his daughter and Joseph Gordon-Levitt is about to have kids, or something like that. But yeah, man. So they're going to the bad guys' house, which, in my opinion, I might be wrong, but it looks a lot like the bad guy's house in the first movie,
Yeah.
like with the gate and everything. I was like, oh, is that not the same house? But yeah, and they go in, they start laying down firepower of, and shooting and stuff, and then of course, my dude Taggart comes in.
Finally shows up. He finally shows up. Oh, I love it too. Oh, I had such a good time when he shows up. I ain't gonna say what he said, but man, he had fun. He killed somebody and he falls down, and then he's with Billy. The reunion of all reunions, man.
Billy says, on 3, we stand up and start shooting. He says, first of all, I'm too old. I can't get up at 3. And then like he gave him the gun. He said, what am I gonna do with this? So
Oh,
shoot.
it was. And Billy's like, at the same time, he's like, you owe me an apology. What do you want from me, Billy? I just saved your life. I'm going to die for you, Billy. That's just, oh, man. I was in heaven, man. Watching them too. I missed them so much. Oh, it was great.
At the same time, so we have, the two last villains, the boss and underboss, Lucifer and Bacon, is the last 2 people left of the villains, and so Jane gets loose from the cuffs, and she knocks out her henchman, who's kind of watching her, and then Axel and Kevin Bacon has like this great dialogue. Talk of stuff like that. He says, "Man, I can't afford anything on the pension and things like that. Like he's saying why I do this. We're no different, you and I, type of thing." And finally, his daughter comes in the room. No, was it that Axel? The guy was about to shoot Axel.
Yeah.
And then the daughter shoots him. And then Axel turns around, and then he goes to shoot. Bacon goes to shoot his Jane, but then Axel jumps and takes the bullet.
Yeah.
And then like, she goes to her dad.
And Bacon's all smiles.
Bacon's about to kill.
Sinister smile. I mean, he's got a sinister smile.
But then,
and I have to say though, before we get there, or as we get there, because I have never seen anyone die from a gunshot wound better than Kevin Bacon.
Oh yeah,
in that particular scene. I'm being honest.
He did really good.
That was a great death. He knows how to die.
Yeah, So Joseph Gordon-Levitt does the kill shot for him.
Yeah,
and shoots him square. He's a better shooter than he is a pilot.
He is.
As a matter of fact, he really is a better shooter than he is a pilot. But yeah, he So he saves the day. They rush Axel to the emergency room. Uh, well, they don't rush him. They take him to the hospital. The daughter, so she goes to see him the next day. He gets out of the bed and he goes next door, like goes to a diner to eat like a burger and fries and milkshake. And they bond and they're going back across. And I think she even says, "You don't have to you don't have to leave. Why don't you stay in town or something like that?"
Yeah.
I think they're setting up routes for him to stay. Um, and so he goes across the street. And one of the best moments in this movie is the camera pans and we see Taggart and Rosewood sitting in the car doing a stakeout. And Eddie pops in the back street, and it's the three of them together once again. And he's like, "Hey man, let's go somewhere. Let's go get some steak. Let's go get some steak." They didn't go to the strip club, or maybe they did. They didn't say it, but he said, "Let's go to get some steak." And then like he said, "Yeah, let's go get a porterhouse or something like that." And then like he says, "Trust me," which is his signature line, and they freeze frame it. End of the movie.
Yeah.
This is where I want to see it goes to. I want to see Axel stay around. Maybe Ryan Rosewood comes back in onto the police squad, picks up, and then it's the three of them kind of doing something, and it can be like the Beverly Hills Cop he now lives in Beverly Hills. He's relocated to Beverly Hills, or maybe in this next one, like he's relocated to Beverly Hills. Something happens back in Detroit, and now the crew comes with him to Detroit, and it's like their fish out of water tale, which would be kind of interesting.
Yeah, it would
Take
be
on it.
very interesting. If they're in Detroit at all, you got to bring Paul Reiser back.
Yeah, Paul has to come back, and not to die. I can see that's how they get him there is they kill Paul Reiser, which I don't want them to kill Paul Reiser.
No, you gotta. They gotta have him and Eddie gotta have another scene together. I would love for Billy and him to have a scene together.
Yeah,
and Taggart too. I mean, I wish Jeffrey got to experience Beverly Hills, though. I mean, could you imagine the four of them in one setting? I mean,
yeah, maybe he comes out there for like a retirement benefit or something like that that's happening in Beverly Hills, and he's out there, and they run into each other. It'd be cool to see that. Like, I would love to see like.
I do think one of them will die though.
Yeah.
Whether it's Jeffrey or it's Taggart. I say more so Taggart just because of his age. Because he can't, he can't be in it too long. He's not getting around all that well. You could tell.
Well, this is what could happen. Is what if Taggart is retiring, and then Paul Reiser is coming in to be the new sergeant out in Beverly Hills? Like he gets transferred there. Which that makes 0 sense, but I don't know. In a perfect world,
I would just like to.
Well, maybe that's how you get Hector. It's maybe how you bring Hector back. He'd be a good sergeant,
Yeah, he would. I mean, I didn't love his character. I didn't feel it was all fleshed out, but I don't blame him. I don't know who I truly blame for part 3. It was just a mess.
Yeah,
all the way around, it was just a mess. But it just didn't feel like Beverly Hills Cop, and this one brought it back to its roots, and
I agree.
It felt like Beverly Hills Cop again. And this is the most fun I have seen Eddie Murphy have. Now, I really can't say.
Yeah, and I will say this real quick before we get to our numbers, too. I think that Eddie literally had fun with this because he misstepped with coming to America. Coming to America was a misstep. You People wasn't. I didn't like You People. So the last few movies they did, other than Dolomite's My Name, hasn't really hasn't really been good. I like that one, but yeah.
But I don't
But
think
the
he
last,
was like having. I mean, I'm sure he had a great time on it working with Wesley, but he felt like he was at home in
yeah,
this.
and that
And
would be kind of cool to have Wesley come back as a villain in maybe
I, I've always
Beverly Hills
said,
5.
you can have two villains. I like Wesley. I like that idea. I've always said they should get Stallone to be in a Beverly Hills Cop movie as a villain. I
Oh,
think
that'd be
it's
great.
perfect.
Would
Even
he
with his
would he play a
age,
villain?
well, he was in Spy Game or whatever, Spy Kids 3.
Yeah, I guess he'd
I
technically go
didn't
as a villain in that.
I didn't see it, but I would hope he would do it. I mean, I think they're taking respectful shots at him, but at the
Yeah.
same time, Eddie. I loved him in part 2 when Eddie's looking at the Cobra poster in Billy's room.
Mhm.
I felt that was like a respectful shot, but I also thought I got the franchise,
Yeah.
kind of a deal. I just think it makes it would be a full circle kind of moment if they can get Stallone to return or to appear in a Beverly Hills Cop movie as a villain.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
just I
Well,
like
I will
Wesley
say,
Snipes' idea
yeah,
too.
I will say this about, and then we'll because with Wesley's performance in Deadpool and Wolverine, I
Spoilers.
it
And I didn't
I'm
spoil it for
sorry, I did it, but with his performance in that movie, like I literally where he says, "There's only one blade. There's only ever going to be one blade," and I was like, "You're right, Wesley." And so I would hope that that kind of catapults into him coming back into the actual MCU and make him Blade. No offense to Michelle Ali, that him. No offense to him. That's Blade. Old man Blade. I
yeah,
want to see Old man Blade.
I never thought we would see that. That was the surprise, the biggest surprise to me. It wasn't Channing Tatum. It wasn't Jennifer Garner. Oop, I'm spoiling it. Sorry. It's Aaron's fault, though. He
Open
started
the
talking
door.
about Blade, and I just went off. Like everyone's seen it. But honestly, I want to see Wesley Snipes back as well. And here, the funny thing about this whole thing is, I didn't realize Ryan Reynolds was playing Wade Wilson in Blade 3. Like it never crossed. It went over my head.
He was.
Yeah,
I didn't even realize that.
yeah. Because they said at the end of the movie, I hope one day I get to play Deadpool.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was like, he was actually playing Wade Wilson in that movie. I forgot all about it. I didn't
That's a
realize
deep
that's who he
cut.
was.
I didn't realize that's the one with Triple H, by the way. But yes. But yeah. I think, but because of this, I hope this is my point of all this. I hope because of this, Wesley gets a resurgence like Nicholas did, and I want to see
Yeah,
him.
that was
I want to see more Wesley Snipes.
the disappointment that I was talking about. One character from Marvel Fox that didn't show up was Ghost Rider, and I was hoping Nicolas Cage was going to make an appearance. Because
It would have been dope. Even if he's just riding in the distance, you see a motorcycle on fire, like riding in the distance. But yeah, that would have been dope. Oh, that would have been great. But yeah, anyway, I love that movie, by the way.
I do have a question before we get to the numbers. After watching this, a sequel 30 years later, it's been over 30 years. We know it's happening, Lethal Weapon 5. Do you give them any shot at making an entertaining movie? Mel Gibson is directing, but they are really old.
Yeah, I would love to see it. I think that it would be interesting, especially like the way they played into their age in this movie made sense. And I want to see, but for me, I got to see Joe Pesci back. I like to see Joe back, even though Joe may not come back because obviously Joe Pesci is super, super. He's such a he picks his parts. You know what I'm saying?
He would.
Picks,
I think he would. Here's the reason I think he would. Because they're paying respect to Richard Donner.
Yeah.
That's what the whole movie's about, respecting his legacy. And I think that will get Joe Pesci back. I think it'll get
Would you
Rene
bring Chris?
Russo.
Would you get Chris Rock back?
I
You don't need
mean,
him, but
I mean,
they shoot
if
they pigeonholed him in there because he's the son-in-law.
yeah, if it was me, I would at least offer him a role. You know, I don't think you need him, like you said, but it's respecting Richard Donner. So, and he was in the fourth one.
Yeah.
So, I don't expect him to be there, but I do hope Joe is there. I think
I want Joe to be there.
You got to be passing the torch, though. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, Mel's got to be like 70. I don't know how old Danny Glover is. He's got to be pushing 80.
That one guy maybe can pop up in it because he's on fire. Oh man, the dude from Twisters.
Glenn Powell.
Glenn Powell, yes, he could probably pop up as maybe Riggs' son. Maybe, yeah,
or a new young detective that he patterns Riggs.
Yeah, and maybe he patterns to a point like and Riggs is like trying to tone him down a bit, but he's like, no, I'm going to go full throttle. But
I think Murtaugh has to be retired though. I think Riggs. It don't make sense, but I think he should be a captain in this.
Like he should have a desk job, maybe. And
he shouldn't be. But when you think of the character Riggs, he doesn't working at a desk. It just doesn't suit him.
Yeah.
It suits Murtaugh just fine, but I expect Murtaugh to be retired. Something's going to bring him out of retirement. He won't be back in the police department, but he'll be helping Riggs on something. But I do hope they bring Leo back, though. I mean, Leo gets Joe Pesci. People that don't know who the character is, but
I would love to one day review those. By the way, all right.
I think we definitely got to review the first Beverly Hills Cop movie at some point.
Yeah, definitely. I also think that they're not streaming anymore. They were at one point. The Rush Hour films. I would love to review those as well, because I believe that is the predecessor to Beverly Hills Cop. People will probably argue and say Bad Boys, but I feel like Rush Hour with their formula for a buddy cop film was great. I don't know. They worked well together.
Yeah, I could see people saying Bad Boys, but Bad Boys is not like Beverly Hills Cop in a way. It's Beverly Hills Cop is, it's a fish out of water story, and that's what Rush Hour is with Jackie Chan's character. He's a fish out of water in the United States. He's working with Chris Tucker, who likes to talk a lot. It's two different worlds coming together, essentially.
Dude, what'd be cool?
What's that?
A crossover between Beverly Hills Cop and Rush Hour. Beverly Hills Cop, Rush Hour.
I mean, essentially,
Carter they're both in
Axel
California.
Foley.
Yeah.
I mean, essentially, James Carter is Axel Foley. I mean, there's no denying that. The way he talks, I mean, everything about that character is paying homage to Axel Foley. I mean,
this is a cigarette. No, this is that's cig weed. That's funny. But I've been quoting "push the button." I'll be saying that all the time. Push the button. But anyway, numbers. All right, so I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna go with my Letterboxd score, which is 4.5 markets out of 5. I think that I thought it's a great movie. It's fun seeing them. It was a little slow at parts, but when you get Axel, Rosewood, and Taggart together, and then throwing Joseph Gordon-Levitt, it just comes together. And I think that they work well. And you totally do forget about the daughter but those guys are really good in it. And then Kevin Bacon can't never have enough bacon. So yeah.
No, you can't have enough bacon. I'm gonna go a little higher than my Letterboxd. I gave it a 3.5 on my Letterboxd. It was fun, but there were some moments where it snagged a little. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. It was such good seeing Eddie Murphy just being Eddie Murphy again. Like, it was classic Eddie. It was Axel Foley. It was just really something I've been wanting to really see him come back to for 3 decades. I've been wanting another Beverly Hills Cop movie since I was like 12, 13. I mean, this franchise really meant a lot to me, and rewatching it, I had all kinds of nostalgia, man. It was a great experience to see this new one, and seeing Rosewood and Taggart together, even when he's holding up his badge after he's killed the guys, and Taggart's like, Jesus Christ, Billy. Some things never change. It was genuinely a great experience. And I'm shocked that it came from Netflix.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what's so surprising is that Netflix did it. Next week is my choice.
Yep.
I'm choosing, I believe it's streaming somewhere. The Rock. Nicolas Cage and Sean Connery.
All right.
Yeah.
I own it, so I don't have to stream it.
Oh.
I've been looking to rewatch that anyway.
It was.
Eddie. Oh, no.
It was streaming. No. I'll find it. Yeah. The Rock. I'm gonna find it. It was streaming somewhere, but now it looks like that's fine. I will find it.
Or he'll change it in the middle of the week.
I'm not going to. I'm gonna try my best not to. But it was gonna be. It was on Peacock, I think. We're choosing The Rock. It was between that and Gone in 60 Seconds. I want to do a Cage film.
Got both of those, so whichever you choose.
The Rock for now. Depends on if these
The Rock's
movies,
a better movie, but
yeah,
I have a special spot for Gone in 60. That is truly the best Fast and Furious movie you'll ever watch.
Yeah. Real quick, the Gone in 60 Seconds is critically panned.
I don't know why.
But watching in theaters back in the day.
Oh, it was so much fun.
Me being introduced to Angelina Jolie in that way, and then like just the group of people they had, the crew, it just worked, man. I just wanted more of it. I was like, when are we gonna get a sequel to Gone in 60 Seconds? But I loved it.
That is one movie. If he did a sequel to something other than Face Off, or maybe Con Air, Gone in 60 Seconds is one I would love to see today. Because Angelina's, I think they're all still living.
Yeah.
Even Robert Duvall is still working.
Yeah. Use Robert while you have Robert.
I would love to see a sequel. I don't know what the story would be today, but I would love to see it. Absolutely.
Yeah. It'd be cool. But Brandon, what do we want people to do?
If you like this episode and you want to see more, click that like button, click that subscribe, and click that share. And comment. Don't forget to comment.
All right. In the meantime and in between time, Aaron Whitlow.
Brandon Spivey.
Thank you for marking out with us here on the Mark Out Movie Podcast.